guys, this is Production Music Live. My name is Francois and today we are quickly going to take a look at how to set up this type of sound design for a track like Stefan Bodzin, Strand, or any other track in this genre. And today I'm using the Diva, but we could also use the Arturia Mini or the Legend, for example. And as you can see, I've automated a couple of these controls here into my macro section of this instrument rack. And also I have a couple of effect controls here in this macro control area. So I have a little bit of overdrive. I have a little bit of saturation going on. I can play around with the chorus and with the reverb. Delay is more or less fixed at the moment, compression and low cut and filter as well. Just to take a look at our chorus, it's 20% wet at the moment. Now I'm actually going to take it completely down, and we have a reverb with like 4 seconds of decay time, and we have the overdrive, slightly applied, and this adding a little bit of crisp onto the sound. But generally, it's only 6% applied. It's really not that much. So what we are talking about here is more or less coming out of the Diva. And what we're trying to do is use two oscillators, oscillator 1 and oscillator 2. We are playing, a pulse wave, and somewhere in between a triangular and a saw wave. And oscillator 3 is not really playing anything at the moment because it's taken down all the way to 0. We have a little bit of noise playing here. Actually, we are playing 42% of the noise level. And then we have this, filter area here where we have the cutoff, the resonance, and the filter envelope. And actually, I'm playing around. If I'm, opening and closing the filter, I'm actually automating the envelope here, because the curve reacts a little different than the filter cutoff curve. And I think this is really number one key step here. Automate your envelope depth. Don't automate necessarily the filter cutoff. You can combine that, obviously, but the curve of the envelope is a little more interesting to the ear than the curve of the cutoff. Now, this is set up so we can tune our two first oscillators with this knob here. So all the way up and all the way down. We can also change the shape of oscillator 2 while playing it. And this is not stepwise, this is kind of seamlessly. Kind of cool effect as well. Feedback, I wasn't playing too much around with that, but and another interesting thing, and you might recognize that effect maybe, is adding in a little bit of the third oscillator and then tuning it around. I'm actually going to open up our chorus effect a little so this sounds a bit wider, also a bit more reverb. So this is for those nasty, a bit crazy breaks or bridges in those kinds of tracks. And then you would bring it back for your drop and play it, I guess, more clean or something. And I mean, you would take, the volume of the third oscillator completely down again. So pretty cool sound already, and I also like to play around with the tuning. want to get closer to that sound, you need to play around a bit more with the general movement of your elements. Everything can be automated, and I think in order to create a track that sounds interesting, this is exactly what you should do. It's much easier to map a couple of these key controls onto some MIDI controller and then, jam around with it. Just hit record, jam around. You will come up with, kind of nice automations you'd never have achieved just by clicking them with your mouse. So I think range or pitching of the oscillators should be very interesting to assign to maybe even 2 different knobs. So you can have oscillator 1, maybe always play 1/5 higher than oscillator 2 or something. So you have those polyphonic elements in there as well. I think Stefan Bodzin is also doing that from time to time, for example. Make sure you add a little bit of noise in here. And you can also automate the noise, obviously. Then also automate some of the knobs of the waveforms and play around with them while playing back some of your bass or lead melodies. And also open up effects like reverb, delay, chorus from time to time. Maybe add in a bit more overdrive over time or a bit more feedback over time. This is really how you get much closer to this type of moving sound and something that sounds really like nicely engineered but very analog as well. And we are doing this only using Ableton effects here and the Diva, but we could also be using Ableton analog and more or less achieve more or less the same thing. Maybe not as beefy as with the Diva, but if you're using the Arturia Mini, maybe essentially works the same way. Another thing would be even automate some of your LFOs as well and set some macro controls for your LFOs. That could add some interesting movement as well. But other than that, this is really just to give you a couple of ideas how to get closer to that sound. I'm going to jam a little bit around right now. And I think in the upcoming days, I will also make like a sound pack with the Diva or even make this project file available once it's finished. Anyways, you'll be able to check that out in the description. Once this video is uploaded, everything will be done already, or just, copy what I did here and get going right away. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Feel free to subscribe to our channel. Visit us on productionmusiclive.com, our website supporting this channel, and I hope to see you next time.